Now, going over to the culture part of the podcast, we have Elon on the security risk of unidentified aliens crossing the border going moderately viral. Now, this comes directly from Elon Musk's X account, or as fewer and fewer people are calling it, Twitter. Interestingly enough, let me know in the comments, do you still call it Twitter, or do you call it X? Anecdotally speaking, my friends and I usually, it's probably a 50-50 split, with more and more people calling it X Twitter, just kind of being a good default or good catch-all. It still says twitter.com as their URL. It'll be interesting to see if they ever change the actual domain. But, I mean, you no longer tweet, you actually just post, which is, you post on every platform. I thought that was kind of unique to have that for Twitter. I'm surprised you didn't do something like X or something like that. Some type of funny, interesting marketing thing, instead of just having a big button that says post, because everyone does that. But nevertheless, he says, quote, and this is actually responding to End Wokeness. Now, End Wokeness said, Venezuela has the lowest homicide rate in 20 years because of their gangs are coming here. Read that again and let that sink in. Let me see here. And he was actually responding to a Bloomberg article noting that their homicide rates as well as injury rates or attack rates have gone down. Elon responded saying, quote, the ability to discard your identification documents from any country, walk across the southern border, and claim asylum has turned America into a refuge for the world's worst criminals, unquote. And that got 12.8 million views and 151,000 likes, which is quite a few to say the least. And in terms of a national security risk, granted, I don't know how much the United States really cares about their own security, considering within my lifetime, they've never really secured the border. It's one of those cliche political topics where perhaps it's just a little pessimistic of me to say this or think this, but there seem to be a couple of key topics and hot button issues where the left and the right, Republicans and Democrats, seem to use them as political campaign tools, but you've never really had a resolution. I mean, it's been decades of people saying we need a strong southern border, any border at the south, and yet every couple decades it's kind of just the same copy-paste methodology. You'd be like, okay, we'll let them claim asylum, or we'll grandfather them in, and then we'll fix the border, and then we'll build something. And barely anything gets built on the federal level. Some states are starting to take that into their own hands, but the pessimist in me kind of thinks, well, some topics I don't think will ever be resolved because then they can't use it as a campaign funding mechanism. But let's go to the comments and see what do the folks think. Are they all going to push back on Elon and say he's completely wrong? Let's dive in and find out. Now, the first one comes from Paul Zazupa. It says, quote, you would have gotten banned for saying this on old Twitter, unquote, getting 171 likes. Our favorite leftist, Luke Zaleski, well, we don't really like him, but I follow him just to gain some additional contrarian viewpoints, and life gets a little boring if you're in an echo chamber, so more viewpoints the better. He says, quote, criminals and victims, unquote. And he zoomed in on the article, and the article paragraph says, quote, Venezuela's rate of violent death drops to its lowest level in more than 2 decades following years of massive migration as both criminals and victims fled the nation's economic crisis. So did he just kind of prove Elon's point? Because again, Elon's not saying only criminals are coming on the border, although technically you could actually define them as all criminals because you're breaking the law to cross the border without doing the proper paperwork and all that kind of stuff. Some might call him mentally vacuous. Truth be told, I have from time to time for Luke Zaleski, but that contrarian statement did get 78 likes, so some people did agree with him. Now, going down a little bit further, you have Sassafras84 saying, quote, we are seeing that now. It's going to get even worse. Protect yourselves. Lake and Riley should have never been taken. And there's a picture of Lake and Riley and says, quote, the blood of Lake and Riley is on the hands of Joe Biden and Alexandro Mayorkas. I'm quoting 2.1 thousand likes. Pismo simply says this clown is destroying America, unquote, and is a picture of Biden with a cool or funny little clown rainbow afro, what do you call that thing? Like an afro wig. And then he also is using crayons instead of a pen at the table. He has the Fisher-Price, this might age me quite a bit, the old wooden Fisher-Price toy where it's a phone, and it's Capri Sun. And there's a big stack of papers that says Trump's fault. Wow, completely unrealistic, because on this table is also a pack of Newports, and I don't think Biden smokes, does he? But nevertheless, that meme did get 486 likes. Libercrat Media TM says, quote, good riddle, and it's a picture of the vintage, the original Riddler from back in the day. And the text says, quote, riddle me this. How do immigrants strengthen our country but not their own? Unquote, gave 1.2 thousand likes. Let's see here. Libercat Media TM also has the good Scooby-Doo meme where you have Fred about to unmask the ghost or the ghoul in the cartoon, but it's Photoshop, so it's Freddy saying, let's see who's really behind destroying our country. And he lifts up the mask and it has Joe Biden, and he lifts it up and it's Barack Obama. That got 452 likes, which I don't know how many people believe that Biden has not suffered from cognitive decline, which begs the question, who is really calling the shots in his administration, or who's really in charge? Because again, we've seen interviews, and I don't think it's a bombastic thing to say or an outrageous thing to say that he has suffered decline just to watch his old interviews compared to now. I think a lot of people are starting to ask that question. Let's see here. Steve Stevenson says, quote, your huddled masses are awfully male and violent these days. And there's a picture of a raft with illegal immigrants saying, quote, you're not being intolerant, you're not being inclusive, you're not being open-minded, you're being conquered, unquote. They got 139 likes. A lot of clips of, let's see here. Brian Krasenstein says, quote, yes, now why doesn't Congress do something about it? President Biden tried to last year, but making it illegal to cross the border without prior asylum claims in Mexico. But the United States judicial system said that his directives were illegal. We need new laws in order to give the president the tools he needs, unquote. Now that got 605 likes. Let's see here. But the first response is from Terrell, responding to him saying idiot. That got 110 likes. Which, again, will the people in D.C. really ever solve? How many problems have they really solved in our lifetime? I mean, I'm not saying it's zero. I'm just saying conceivably you could fix it. You could list them on a cocktail napkin. That's a joke because cocktail napkins are notoriously small. Nevertheless, other comments. You have Ian Miles Chung saying, quote, it's troubling that anyone on the run from the law in another country can easily hop across the border, then discard the documents to go live in some town or city while getting free subsidies from the government. Unquote, getting 659 likes. Red Wave Press says, quote, Venezuela has seen crime gone down, while America has seen crime go up. More illegal immigrants from Venezuela means more criminals from Venezuela. It's that simple. Follow if you agree. Unquote. Getting 176 likes. You have Right Angle News Network, which A+ for marketing. Their logo is in fact of the geographic right angle. And it says, quote, America is paying the price for people who want to virtue signal to the world about what good and amazing people they are because they want to welcome these illegal invaders into our country. Follow me if you agree. Unquote, getting 191 likes. So again, we do have, let's see here, a couple contrarian statements, but as I scroll through more and more, it seems overwhelming support for Elon saying, this is a huge security risk because, I don't want to say obviously it is, but yeah, it obviously is. If you don't know their identification, they're crossing the border, they could literally be anyone. And considering the incentive mechanism structure in the United States, this situation is just going to continue as is. It's not going to stop anytime soon. So let me know in the comments, are you concerned at all about this? I know it's perhaps one of the most viral political and cultural topics of our lifetime, and shoot, even to this day, while it has exponentially increased in terms of the number of people crossing in the past couple of years, that's also why I think the topic is being brought up more and more. But do you think this will get solved anytime soon? I can't help but think, if I were to look at the Magic 8 Ball, the odds would probably say, odds are not so good. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback. So let me know how I can make the show better and better over time. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.